panels, this house believes that developing countries should require foreign companies operating in its territory to have a minimum quota of hiring local workers. Let me tell you why. Before coming to my argumentation, let me map on some important notes regarding this matter in the sake of elaborative debate, ladies and gentlemen. The developing countries that we meant in this matter is those countries who are still developing in terms of financial and people wealth. For example, like Indonesia and other Southeast Asian nation countries, ladies and gentlemen. And then foreign companies that we're talking about here are those companies who are operating in Indonesia. We want to talk particularly about Indonesia, who are not locally branded for Indonesian market, but are from the foreign countries, in gentlemen. And the minimum quota that we want here we want a fair mapping. For example, can be seen for the example of PT Freeport. They have the amount of 40.7% of local Papuan workers, or 2.9 thousand workers working at that company, and the 57.2% others are the Indonesian citizens other than non-Papuans who are working there. So we can see that there is a really huge amount of local workers at Freeport, with only 2.1% or 145 foreign workers working at Freeport, ladies and gentlemen. Before coming to my argumentation though, let me tell you on the status quo, the background that is supporting this debate on why the government should limit those foreign companies to have minimum amount of hiring local workers. And then current status quo, Indonesian population keeps evolving, ladies and gentlemen. We have bigger and larger population as the time passes by, which means this is the exploding young demographics that is going on. I understand that the opposition team will talk to you about like how these foreign workers will be beneficial because they are more expertise, they are more skilled, and it is gonna be low cost. But hey, this is our country is developing. Our young demography is really exploding, which means that our Z-Gen, our millennials, are also developing, which means they are more skilled, they are more expertise based on the trainings, workshop, and other things that are now at the same level with the foreign workers themselves, ladies and gentlemen. We need to take that as the advantage. Let's talk about why we need to have minimum quota of hiring local workers for these local companies to proceed, right, ladies and gentlemen, for foreign companies to proceed. The first one, it is very profitable or beneficial for those companies. Why? Because it helps those companies to penetrate Indonesian markets. Why it is more efficiently? Because those local workers understand more about the Indonesian or local markets. They understand about the target of markets, which is the key point of a business, ladies and gentlemen. They understand about what our people need, what our people like, what our people want. Way better compared to the foreign workers, right? Therefore, they need to be set a high minimum amount of quota of hiring local workers, right? And the second one is there's potential foreign workers will massively come through job creation law after it's prior to the legislation of that bills, ladies and gentlemen. And the third one is the foreign companies' obligation to support Indonesian government because they are not originally from Indonesia and they are building a company in Indonesia and they are operating in Indonesia. It means that they are here as a guest and they need to respect our government, respect our country by contributing financially and the manpower side too, in this case, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the second point of my argumentation because my first one was already explained. The second one is the control massive foreign workers entrenched to Indonesia prior to job creation law. This GCL, Article 81 number 4, there is no more working visa, ladies and gentlemen. Just expat placement plan is already enough, or also known as RPTKA in Indonesia. Minimum requirements in RPTKA is also decreased too by GCL law, and also the reasoning like expertise time, working time, and placement also deleted or removed by that law. And then excluded for the RPTKA, some foreign workers are excluded in this case, such as directions, commissaries with certain shareholdings, and diplomatic workers and consulars, and some other specific foreign workers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even stopping the pandemic situation from the massive entrance of those foreign workers. Therefore, the government need to set minimum amount for these companies, the foreign companies, to have minimum quota for our local workers to be hired, right? For example, let's see at Newmont Southeast Nusa in West Sumbawa. It is a subsidiary American company that is operating in West Sumbawa, ladies and gentlemen. They only have 1% of total 4.2 thousand workers working at Newmont, ladies and gentlemen. And also, we need to see the successful example from Singapore. Why? Because in 2019, the Ministry of Manpower of Singapore, they made this law that require those foreign countries to pay attention on hiring the local countries with the specific amount or specific quota to pay attention to. And if they paid it, then as much as they hire more locals, those Singaporean government will give more sponsor to these companies to enter their workers from their country to enter the company to work in Singapore. Therefore, it's also beneficial for them. It's a win-win solution. Why? Because the real example of Singapore, their national profit increased by 0.8% from 2016 to 2017, from 64.2% to 67.2%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really good example. 0.8% is not it's not a small amount. It's really big amount if we're talking about Singaporean dollars, right? For example, like in the Singapore Minister of Manpower is qualifying the salary of local employers included in the calculating quota of available for hiring foreign workers starting from 2019. And it's already increased the income of Singapore by 100 Singaporean dollars per year. That is a really big amount. For foreign worker quota is calculated by examining the amount of local workers, both foreign and the local, and the dependency ratio ceiling or DPR for the certain sector. So we need to pay attention on certain sector for. Therefore, based on my argumentation, my supporting case position from the Singapore that we need to pay attention to as our role model in this case, we believe that the government really need to set a minimum quota for those foreign companies operating in Indonesia to hire our local workers in the sake of for the company's profit itself, also for the Indonesian wealth itself, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we're really proud to support this motion. Thank you.